CBS News congressional correspondent Nikole Killion joins us from Capitol Hill with more on today's healthcare votes in the upper chamber. Nikole, good morning. As we've been laying out, it's likely both of these proposals fail in the Senate today. So where does Congress go from here, and where does it leave, viewers who need healthcare coverage?
Yeah, well, in terms of the proposals that are up today, one is a Democratic proposal that would extend these enhanced Affordable Care Act subsidies for the next 3 years, so there's no interruption with people's coverage or ability to get coverage. The Republican proposal basically would transfer those dollars into health savings accounts, and as you mentioned, neither of them at this point seems to have the votes to pass. So what happens next? There are so many proposals that are floating around Congress. It's just a matter of whether something sticks. There are a number of bipartisan proposals. Some lawmakers are trying to force a vote on those, particularly in the House, as a workaround through a process known as a discharge petition. And then, of course, you have House Republican leaders that say they plan to put forth a series of bills to vote on next week, although they're not expected to include that critical tax credit extension.
And Nikole, you spoke with Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene yesterday on a number of topics. What jumped out at you from her remarks?
Yeah, well, I think broadly speaking, the main takeaway was she seems at peace with her decision to step away from Congress at this time. She did say that those threats that her family received, particularly a threat that her son received, really caused her some pause and was a factor ultimately in her decision to step down. Of course, some of those death threats coming after the president called her a traitor for backing that bill, calling for the release of the Epstein files. But she says, she defended her position on that bill and thinks it's the right stance and remains confident and hopeful that the Trump administration will make those files public next week, which is the deadline for the Department of Justice to release them. We also talked about the health care issue, one that the Congresswoman has also been very outspoken on, particularly during the shutdown. Take a listen to what she told me on that topic.
I see I call it an off-ramp, but yet has to be some sort of temporary extension while you build up to a greater solution to solve the healthcare crisis.
You think that could be a 2-year extension?
I want to see I want to see a pairing of some sort of extension, but moving to a solution that solves this problem, the affordability of healthcare and health insurance in America.
So she did make clear that, this is something that can't be cut off right away in terms of these subsidies. And so consequently, after our conversation, she signed on to one of those discharge petitions I mentioned by Congressman Fitzpatrick, which would extend these Affordable Care Act subsidies for another 2 years to buy lawmakers some time to be able to work out some additional reforms and perhaps expand access to these health savings accounts. So again, we'll see if that particular discharge petition is able to get enough support, but certainly an issue that the Congresswoman feels very strongly about, among with others.
Yeah, really important to get that interview with you and have our viewers hear what she had to say. Nikole, thank you so much.